Don't miss the debates by Nigerians and friends of Nigeria on issues surrounding Nigeria from around the world. My name is Kayode Okundamisi. Hello, good evening, viewers. My name is Kayode Okundamisi, and you're welcome to Politics with KO Special Edition. We've been having 2 hours for the past 2-3 weeks, and that's thanks to Ben Television, because it's election time in Nigeria, and we don't want to miss anything out. But there's something that is missing in Nigeria. We've got over 280 girls missing for several days, and what is actually quite painful about this is no one knows where these girls are. The Nigerian government have done everything within their own limit to try and get these girls out, and we can't find them. There's been conflicting signals, and what is actually more painful was that earlier today we got international news reports that the captured town of Baga, there are reports that some girls were killed by fleeing Boko Haram activists, we just hope and pray that even though as sad as it is that we have people killed, that missing Chibok girls will be safe. But I want to talk about a movement that's kept this issue going for a long time. I mean, there are groups of Nigerians who just felt, look, no matter the politics, we're going to keep pushing up for the return of the Chibok girls. And I'm talking about the Bring Back Our Girls movement in Nigeria. The girls have been abducted for about 329 days today. And this group, they've been meeting every day for 324 days. Can you believe that? There are dedicated Nigerians meeting in Abuja every day, 324 days, just to keep the issue of the Chibok girls alive. And it is to them that we dedicate the first half of this program. We're going to bring you clips of interviews I had with members of this movement. And I also have with me in the studio at some point, the second half of this program, Mr. Mukhtar Dania, who supports President Goodluck Jonathan and has been in Nigeria to campaign for the PDP and President Goodluck Jonathan. So we're going to have a conversation with Mr. Dania. And then your normal 9 to 10 p.m. Nigerian time, 8 to 9 p.m. UK time, you're going to have that nice discussion about education, and Rose will join us. We'll just kick it out straight away and go straight to Abuja. Let's have Ado Ibrahim. Ado Ibrahim is a pro. We're going to speak with the chairman of Chibok community in Abuja. We want to get his experience, and he will tell us about the pains they've been going through. And at some point, we'll have interview with Maureen Kabir and Buki Shonibare. Let's hear first from the chairman of Chibok community in Nigeria.
Fight for our girls, solely, 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 solidarity for, solely, 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 solidarity for, solely, 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 solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our girls. All we are saying is bring back our girls now and alive. All we are saying is bring back our girls now and alive. All we are saying is bring back our girls now. What are we demanding? What are we asking for? What do we want?
Yeah, welcome back. Now, that is the venue, Unity Fountain, where Nigerians meet every single day. And this particular group, they've been meeting for over 324 days. They've been harassed, they've been attacked, they've been molested, but they keep strong for these missing Nigerian girls. So let's listen first to the chairman of Chibok community, and then we'll hear from him their experience and what's going on, and then afterwards we'll hear from Maureen Kabir and Buki Shonibare. First, the chairman of Chibok community in Abuja. Now, it's been many days now that these girls have gone missing. And how do you feel? How many days today?
It's 310 days today.
How is Chibok today?
Yeah, Chibok today is, you know, with time, some people try to pretend and to show as if they want to forget about it. But whenever similar things happens, it makes people to feel it. People are still in trauma. People are living in fear for the fact that it is only Chibok is being covered with security. But the villages around Chibok, no security. So the people even run into Chibok. And that has added to another problem of accommodation, water, and even health needs in Chibok now.
Okay. Now, do you, for over 300 days, people have been meeting here.
Yes.
And consistently. How is that possible?
Yeah, that is possible. Is something that we thought it wouldn't have happened before. But it happened because of humanity. All the people that you are seeing here, we represent the new Nigeria who has, who are being their brother's keeper. That is.
Okay, are you encouraged by the efforts of the government so far?
No, the effort of government is discouraging because even as at now, when they are saying that army are already inside Sambisa, we have been asking the people in the villages around are saying that it is not true. They have not seen any army.
Okay, so despite all this information, they have army all in Sambisa. And
yes.
How many kilometers is Sambisa to Chibok?
Okay, Sambisa to Chibok is about maybe about 100 or 120 kilometers.
And the villagers cannot see any sign?
No, they cannot see any sign. Even the closest village, which is about 20 kilometers only, that is Bama, Goza, they cannot see the armies.
So why are they informing people that they are in Sambisa?
That has been the custom of Nigerian government since in the beginning, when they started telling us that they have rescued all the girls except 8. And we found out to be false. That is, they started from there. Anytime they will be telling us first story, up to this time.
So now, the Chibok people in Abuja and Chibok people outside Chibok, what is the effect on them? Have they taken in a lot of displaced people in their homes?
Yes, yes. Even in my home now, I have displaced people. Even in my brother's home, even now as you are seeing me, you will see me, I will sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up. There are some people who came and they are stranded. They are in Nyanya. And I am calling people to come and see them so that they can accommodate them before we can find where to keep them. Even now.
What will be your message to the international community?
Yeah, my message to international community is as we have requested before, I am still on my request that let international community intervene seriously. Let them forget about Nigeria and face humanity. This is humanity. Since Nigeria has failed us, if we are going to wait for Nigeria, we will all perish.
Welcome back, and as the chairman of Chibok community in Abuja, I'm going to throw the phone lines open, but then I want to quickly bring in my guest at some point. But I'll bring in my guest because I want Mr. Mukhtar to also join in the conversation about the Chibok community. Because when it comes to bring back our girls and the missing Chibok girls, it should not be a partisan issue. It shouldn't be like you're a Jonathan supporter, you're a Buhari supporter. One of the things we hope to achieve is that, look, everyone from all sides of the country will unite to confront the issue about the missing Chibok girls. And this is one issue that everybody, if you're Nigerian, you know, and if you are a father or a mother, or you've got a brother or a sister, you should be concerned about it. So before we bring in the interview I had with Maureen and Buki Shonibare, I want to introduce to you a a pro-Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan supporter, and a friend of President Jonathan now, I must say, who is also a former Buhari supporter, I should also say, Mr. Daniel Mukhtar. Daniel Mukhtar, you're welcome to Ben TV.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, it's good to see you again. I think the last time I saw you was, I'm actually meeting you for the first time.
Correct.
Physically, isn't it?
Yes.
But we've met, we had a debate about
We did.
Buhari and Jonathan.
Yes, we did.
But we're not going to go into that now. We want to talk about the issue of the missing Nigerian girls.
Absolutely.
And one of the things, when I visited Nigeria, I just got back from Nigeria, you know, I went to support General Buhari.
We know you support President
Yeah,
Jonathan.
so,
It's
no,
okay.
no, I support General Buhari, President Buhari,
Okay.
so to say. So, and one of the things I said I was going to do was visit that place where Nigerians have been meeting for over 300 days.
Yes.
And I was quite glad that you also visited that place. Tell
Absolutely.
us, when you went there, what did it feel like?
I thank them for what they're doing, because at the end of the day, politics aside, those girls are Nigerian citizens. Those girls, their destiny, their fate is a collective responsibility for all of us, for all of humanity, especially people in Nigeria. And the people who go out there every day to continually put their plight, on the front burner, those are people who are doing a very, very, very important task. Because if not for them, everyone would forget about the Chibok girls.
Yeah, because I'm looking, I compare this to the sit-out in the U.S., the sit-out movement that started in the U.S., spread across the world. And that didn't even last for more than 1 month.
No.
Against Wall Street.
Correct.
And it collapsed. But from my experience, this is actually a unique one that Nigeria is pioneering in terms of activism. People sitting out for a very long time.
It is.
And they're not deterred. Now, what do you think is responsible for the way in which the campaign seems to be polarized? There are people who just feel, okay, bring back our girls, what are they doing? They're just anti.
Well, the challenge, in my opinion, is that people have somehow placed the blame for this abduction on the president. As far as I know, the president was not involved in abducting any girls. As far as I know, the president has made efforts, continuously made efforts to bring these girls back. Some of them are not public knowledge, some of them are public knowledge, but he's been working behind the scenes. So the reason it's polarized is because people keep on shifting the focus away from Shekau, who is a homicidal maniac, to the president, who, he's the president of the nation. Security is his responsibility. Initially, he didn't do well in that area. Now he's doing great. But you can't, it's like blaming the tenant or the head of a home, of a household, for armed robbers coming to his house and wreaking havoc. So that's why it's polarized. If everybody's focus was on Shekau from the very beginning and demanding that those people should, appealing to their humanity, appealing to their whatever it is that they hold sacred, to release the girls who are innocent, it might not have gotten to this level.
So the president didn't do well at the first instance. Some would say 6 years of not.
He hasn't
doing
been in
well.
office for
It's a
6
long
years.
time.
He's
No,
been
I
in
mean,
office for less than 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. Let's even take it for 5 years. 5 years is a long time for not doing well.
I didn't say he's not done well for 5 years. I said when the girls were abducted.
I'm even looking at the insurgency generally.
Well, the insurgency isn't his fault. The insurgency started in 1979 when Russia invaded Afghanistan in order to have access to whatever pipelines. And then the U.S. started arming the Mujahideen, which is Operation Cyclone. The U.S. armed the Mujahideen for what? From 1983 to 1989, if I'm not mistaken. As a result of that, elements like Osama bin Laden sprung up, moved to Sudan, and we're seeing the effects today.
Okay. Now, I want to also, because I want to make this first half about the Bring Back Our Girls movement, and I don't want to take the glory away from their heroic efforts they do, what they're doing in Nigeria, just to show that we appreciate what you're doing. This is a bipartisan praise for the Bring Back Our Girls movement in Nigeria, and to say well done to you. Let's hear from Maureen Kabrik. If I mispronounce your name, please, I apologize. And we know our viewers in Nigeria who are watching this. Please listen to Maureen. It's quite amazing, the commitment that this movement, that the commitment they're giving to this cause. Let's hear from Maureen.
please?
My name is Maureen Kabrik.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur, a member of Bring Back Our Girls group.
Okay, we've seen you quite a number of times at the Unity Fountain ground. How many days now?
311 days that the Chibok girls have been abducted, less 15 days. That's how long we have been sitting. Yeah,
So people sit
296
out, people
days.
sit out every day?
Yeah, we sit out every day from
time?
4 to 6 p.m.
Okay. I've spoken to quite a number of your members, and you've got challenges, people coming in to disrupt. Tell us one or two incidents that you've witnessed.
The one I can vividly remember was the one that we got attacked when the government, as alleged then by Mr. Doyin Okupe, as we learned, sponsored a group that came to disrupt our sitting at the Unity Fountain. And those were in the early days. And they used to hire these crowds with these women from the markets that they used to bring with some young people around. And they bring them and they just come and carry placards shouting and chanting, "Release our girls, release our girls," because we say bring back our girls. And they came and they were chanting, and we knew it was from the government circle because on the day, one of the days that we protested to the presidency sent a delegation of ministers and some government officials to come and address us. And the Minister of State of FCT read out the president's address, and in it, the president did say that we should channel our campaign to Shekau and ask Shekau to release our girls instead of asking them to bring back our girls. And that was where we knew that the people who came to the Unity Fountain chanting "Release our girls" definitely must have come from the government circle. And they attacked us on this fateful day where we were just there as usual as citizens who have rights in their country to express.
So what's the difference between release our girls and bring our girls? Because government would have a legitimate request that, look, the president is not the one keeping the girls, it's Shekau.
Yeah, he's not the one keeping the girls, but the responsibility lies with the president, because that's what he swore to on May 29th, 2011, to defend and protect the lives and welfare and properties of every Nigerian. And Chibok girls are no exception. It is their right to be rescued. It is not a privilege. It is their right as enshrined in the Constitution. And so for us, who else to hold responsible if not Mr. President?
So there'll be this argument that, see, the Chibok girls are not the first girls or first Nigerians that were kidnapped. There have been kidnappings in the South. There were boys that were killed in the Northeast. I think 47 boys murdered. And why Chibok girls?
It is as a result of all of these failings, just as you have rightly mentioned now, the 49 Buninyadi boys who were murdered in FGC, Buninyadi, Yobe State. 20 people were abducted at some point in time. But before then, let's not forget, the killings in the Northeast started as far back as 2009. Men in uniform were being attacked by Boko Haram after the killing of Mohammed Yusuf. Before you knew it, Boko Haram now started targeting certain people who were preaching against what they were doing. And before you knew it, they started burning markets, churches, mosques, you know. So a lot of people had died even before Chibok girls were taken. But there has been an overwhelming silence from the government and from the citizens. And an active Nigerian amongst us, Mrs. Hadiza Bala Usman, felt that when Chibok issue happened, we didn't even hear from the Nigerian state. The government was silent. There was this denial of this girl's abduction. Nobody was coming out to speak to us until the parents came to Abuja to protest and insist, because there was this conspiracy theory that was going on. Oh, no girls are missing. Oh, no girls are. And for 18 days, there was no address from the government. But before the 18th day that the president was forced into addressing.
Hi, viewers, that's Victoria Kabrik, and we want to say that all these interviews, the full length, we'll upload them on YouTube so that you can follow the full conversation. And we had Victoria there, Maureen there, sorry. We had Maureen there. Maureen was just quite emphatic that, look, don't push the responsibility just not to check out that the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. It's the only one citizens can run to.
Okay.
Does she have a point there?
No. When I was growing up, we had a pet goat. The pet goat's name was Ramu. He was actually a ram.
Yeah.
And one day he got stolen. I don't recall my brothers and I ever going to our father and demanding, bring back our goat. The goat was with the people who stole him. Thieves, by nature of what they do, are people who operate outside the law. Kidnappers, the same thing. Shekau abducted the girls. Blaming President Jonathan for the abduction and continued detention or continued holding of those girls is wrong.
Okay.
We want him to bring them back.
Okay.
That's Shekau, not the president. But we, you know.
One of the conversations I had with the Bring Back Our Girls movement is that, and they've been saying, look, the accusation, at least from Doyin Okukwe, is that they are one-sided. But they've been saying, look, this is an open ground. Everyone is welcome to come and partake in our campaigns. When you visited the fountain, did anybody stop you or try to say, don't come and talk to us?
They didn't stop me from talking, but on my way out, a few people came to argue with me. And
from within the movement or from outside?
No, people who were sitting around, that why do you support Jonathan? Jonathan is this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I said, look, this is not the time, nor the place for this. I support my candidate. I proudly support him. You support yours.
And
Please go ahead.
In that little conversation, did anybody touch you, molest you?
Molest me? No. I mean, I'm a relatively big guy. I don't think people will try and do that necessarily.
I want to tell you my own experience.
Okay.
You know, and maybe after this program you watch on
Sure.
YouTube. I was walking on Elephant and Castle, and I had a Jonathan supporter confront me. He had two of his children literally pushing me, and he was quite agitated, and I just felt, wow, this is interesting. So when you see that kind of contrast, is that the kind of relationship we should be having, even if we oppose a candidate?
No, I think personally, I'm passionate about my candidate, as are you,
Yeah.
but you and I are here.
Yeah.
We're laughing, we spoke before we came in, we'll talk after. Yeah. It's politics, not a gladiatorial combat to the death.
Okay, now going back to the Chibok girls story, and this is quite an important, you live in the US.
I do.
You know, how acceptable is the campaign in the other side of the Atlantic, in the United States of America? Are people really following the campaign? Do you think things have really toned down?
Things have gone down from the way they were when everything started. There are people who are still championing the issue. I follow quite a few people who are in the public eye who still once in a while put out the Bring Back Our Girls hashtag. Is it front and center? No.
Okay.
But it's not dead. It's still.
That's good to hear. I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from. I've got Mukhtar in the studio, and today we're commending the movement, Bring Back Our Girls movement in Nigeria. Good evening, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Khalid. Good evening. My name is JJ from FX, and I just want to challenge your delegates in the studio with very, very great apology and due respect to him. I think the analogy that he just used, comparing, and the example that he gave about their family goats going missing, and to remotely use that in connection to the Chibok girls was a very, very placed analogy. And I think there can never be a reconciliation between those who support the Chibok girls, Bring Back Our Girls campaign, and those who don't. But I think the principles are very simple, to be honest. Presidents are elected largely for their sense of leadership and direction, and most importantly, for their sense of judgment. Okay? Yeah. If you look in the Western society, when presidents and prime ministers make some terrible errors of judgment, they are often questioned about their capacity and their capability. Of course, everybody knew that it was not President Jonathan who kidnapped those girls. But for goodness sake, the father of the nation, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria, within 3 weeks of these girls being kidnapped, what were the utterances that anybody heard the president making
Okay, all right, thanks so much, because I want other callers to come in. Thank you so much for your call, and I want to give Mr. Mukhtar a chance to respond to that. He's saying that the number of weeks were quite unfortunate, and that your comparison, your goat analogy, that is in bad taste. Do you?
It's not in bad taste. We're talking about criminals. Shekau is a criminal. Magnitude.
Okay.
But Shekau is a criminal. Shekau is not a law-abiding citizen. Okay. So my example wasn't about saying the girls are goats. Yeah. My example was that Shekau engaged in acts or in an act which is criminal.
Now, our troops are gaining ground now.
Yes.
And they've progressed in capturing quite a number of territories from Boko Haram. There's no sign of those girls.
Yes.
Even across the border. Should we... President Obasanjo did say that, look, in this kind of situation, when you don't act in the first 48 hours, the likelihood of getting those girls back is quite remote. Is it that we should give up a bit and just face reality that, look, these girls are gone for good?
No, the girls are still alive. The girls are in the Mandara Mountains. They've been there from pretty much the very beginning. Shekau got them as a blood exchange for losses he believes his people incurred when women were killed and their children were killed. I think there's still a very good probability we will get them back. We're optimistic. And as for saying there is a 48-hour rule, there is no hard and fast rule about abductions. There are people who are abducted and are recovered years later, and there are people who are abducted and aren't.
Okay, I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, hi, good evening. Thank you very much for this wonderful job you're doing. My name is Fash, calling from Abbey Wood, London.
All right, go ahead.
I just want to find out from your guest there, will he himself prefer to be addressed as a goat?
Is there... You can have a conversation.
Do I prefer to be addressed as a goat? I get addressed as much worse every day, so I know who I am, so whatever people say makes no difference.
You come to the public field and be addressing human beings, all these missing children that everybody is very concerned about, as your father's missing goat?
Again, if you were paying attention, I specifically... Can you tell your caller what I said? Because I don't think he missed. He probably was in the restroom.
Mr. Ayumi actually clarified that he was talking about, it was...
I think the comparison that his father goes somewhere.
We are talking about criminals who engage in criminality. The subject was the person who stole the goat, just as the subject is Abubakar Shekau, who is responsible for the abduction of the girls.
I mean, the thing is, when somebody say a commander-in-chief, he was sworn in actually, responsible to dispatch security to relieve this guy from the wherever who kidnapped them.
I'm sorry, say that again? He was sworn in to do. He was sworn in to do what exactly? To bring back.
I wouldn't want. Let us.
No, sir. Physically, as the commander-in-chief, is it not what commander-in-chief means?
Okay, sir. I was in New York when 9/11 happened. I saw. Sir, I was.
The American issue.
Sir.
What Americans do when the terrorism attack was in their country.
I was in.
Okay, let me try.
Let me say this. I was in New York on September 11th, 2001. The buildings came down in front of me, in front of my eyes. I still have pictures. I did not hold George Bush responsible because George Bush was not Mohammed Atta, nor was he Osama bin Laden. Criminals do criminal things. That's just what it is. The president's responsibility is to ensure that perpetrators of crime are brought to justice.
Okay.
As a result, hold on, let me finish. As a result of this, he has committed resources and manpower to our military to go find out where Shekau is and to bring him to justice, dead or alive. I don't know what more he can do beyond that, except he calls in the US or Russia to drop a nuclear bomb somewhere in the Northeast to kill everybody. Beyond that, what else can anyone do?
Okay, we take that point. I think we've got another caller on the line. Please tell us where you're calling from and your name, please. We see the lines are bustling now. Good evening. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, my name is
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I just want, with due respect to Dr. Eze, I don't think he realizes on the national TV. How what he's saying is just rubbish. He's comparing a lie to a ghost.
Let me say this again, and please, can we move on from these questions? The subject of the conversation was the criminal who committed an act which is criminal in nature, i.e. abduction. The subject is not the girls. No one compared living things such as goats to girls. Please, let's move on.
Let's
move on, please. If these people don't have...
Let me try.
And he said, compare them to a ghost.
Okay. Let me
please,
say, I think one of
can
the
we
things,
move on?
Okay, thanks so much, and we're sorry to actually cut you off. I do apologize for that. I just want to try and see if we can move on from the ghost analogy. But you'd understand where people are coming from, that it's not the best example to give where human beings are missing. People will easily misconstrue that.
But that's where we cleared it up.
Yeah. Okay.
We could have spoken about a car, we could have spoken about a goat, we could have spoken about clothes. The point is, if I take your laptop right now, I have taken it. I have, without your permission, that's a crime. I am a criminal if I take something that belongs to someone else. Okay. Whether it's human lives, whether it's dignity or whatever, criminals engage in criminal activity.
I want to, just to mellow things down, I would want to urge my producer that we need to actually now listen to Buki Shonibare. Buki Shonibare is a member of the Occupy Nigeria, the Bring Back Our Girls movement, and a pioneer member with other young people out there. And she's actually out there in the US now trying to bring the campaign back. And we should also mention that Obieze Kwezele, I always get my pronunciations wrong, the former Minister of Education in Nigeria, she's a member of the group, and quite a number of selfless Nigerians. So let's hear Buki's take on how the movement started and where they are today. Then we'll come back and continue with Mukhtar. We'll close the chapter and bring back our guests for today, but we'll still support them, and then we'll now discuss politics. Don't go away. Listen to Buki, please.
Today makes it 310 days since the girls were abducted. That means in about 55 days, 55 to 56 days, God forbid, if those girls are not yet back, it will be 1 year since the abduction of the Chibok girls.
Did your movement ever think that it would go thus far, that you would, in over 200 days to 300 days, that you wouldn't have those girls?
No, we didn't envisage that we would even spend 2 weeks, much less talking about 1 month. When we started the movement, I recall we needed to do some publicity materials, and the printer we got said to us that it was going to take him about 2 weeks for him to do the printing, and we said no, don't worry, because we just thought that 2 weeks from then it was just too long, for us to still be coming out or be advocating for the Chibok girls. I recall also when we commemorated 1 month since the abduction, that was 30 days after the abduction, and we had a vigil, here in Abuja, and I recall the events of that day, how we spoke to the people in Chibok, how we, spoke to the community elder, how we did several things, commemorating 1 month. And we didn't plan forward from there, because we just thought, 1 month will be the longest we would have to stay. But today we are talking about 310 days since 219 girls have gone missing.
So before these girls, they went missing, right? And before them, there have been kidnappings. After them, people have been kidnapped, even killed. Boys, about 47 boys were killed in the secondary school. And more people are still going. What makes Chibok unique? What makes Chibok quite different?
Just like you rightly mentioned, before the abduction of the Chibok girls. There's been a series of abductions, you know, especially in the Northeast. They come into the town, they come in their trucks, they pick women, girls, and, you know, they cut away with them, you know, turn them into slaves, and that's been going on. Even though it was never escalated as much as it is now being escalated when we started, you know, speaking more about the Chibok girls. Also, in Buninyadi, there were 49 boys that were killed in Buninyadi and, you know, practically slaughtered. And we didn't think that that would be something that would see the light of day in Nigeria, because we expected that, for instance, our government would so react to the killing of those boys that it would send a message to Nigerians that, you know what, we are on top of your security. And it will send a message to the terrorists that we don't joke with our people. You can't just come and kill our children and go away, you know. Something that is pungent enough to send a message to every stakeholder. Unfortunately, what we saw was silence.
So are you disappointed with your government?
Yes, utterly disappointed. So when the abducted Chibok girls, when it happened, something went off. We said to ourselves, if abductions, killings that had happened before the Chibok girls, if it had happened and the government did not take the right kind of action, then we shouldn't sit down and watch the Chibok girls go like that and nothing will be done. So for us, paying attention to the Chibok girls was saying and sending a message to the government that we are not a people that will just sit down and act as if we don't care. At that point also, the international community were already questioning our humanity. You mean people will sit like that? We came out 15 days after the abduction because we were hoping that within that 15 days, our government would do something and we would not need to come out. If the government had acted responsibly, we would not be coming out on a daily basis like we do today.
Okay, you've been to the Northeast. I followed some of your updates and you take relief materials there. Can you tell us where you've been? What's the situation there, especially the internally displaced persons? Share your experience with us.
We visited a camp for internally displaced persons somewhere in Nasarawa State, you know, very close to Abuja. We, as the Bring Back Our Girls group, thought that.
Well, that was Buki Shonibari of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Once again, we say thank you to every one of you, all Nigerians involved in the campaign for the return of those girls.
Absolutely.
Even the pro-government campaign, as we are saying, is it what is it? Return Our Girls. Well, there's hashtag Return Our Girls. Everybody involved. We want to say we just hope and pray that we find peace in our fatherland. Let's quickly take this phone call. Then we've got Mukhtar in the studio. We move straight away from the Bring Back Our Girls and now discuss the real thing.
Kayode's favorite subject.
So can we please have your name? And we do apologize for keeping you on for so long. Where are you calling from and what's your name, please?
I'm calling from Island Cork.
Okay, go ahead. You've got Mr. Mukhtar in the studio.
Yeah, my own contribution to the program. People calling Jonathan's name that is the one that should bring back the girls. They are not unfair, and there are some certain things which I would like to add to what that gentleman is saying. When Jonathan wants to get into power, that was 2011, Atiku Abubakar, he made some silly threats. This same Buhari that is trying to get into power now, he made some silly threats as well, that the government will not be betrayed. People that are asking Jonathan to go and bring back the girls, why not call Atiku Abubakar to bring back the girls? Why not call on Buhari to bring back the girls? They are the ones that are ruling the north. They are the ones that are in charge of the northern side. Why not tell them now? You people have said this government will not be true.
Okay, now Mr. Edi wants to contribute. Thank you for your call so that we can have another call. I want him to have as many calls.
I think it's important, once and for all, the only people who have the girls are people who are in Boko Haram, people who have sworn allegiance to Abubakar Shekau and his Shura Council. Whether it's, we don't need to call on Goodluck Jonathan or Buhari or Atiku Abubakar or any of these people to bring back our girls, because they don't have our girls. And when we keep on politicizing this issue, it hurts our collective dignity as Nigerians. The Chibok abduction is a humongous tragedy to the entire nation. And we need to keep our eyes on the prize, and that is we want the girls back, we want them alive, and we want them as quickly as possible.
Let's move straight away from that and now go into 2015 election.
No problem.
So are you going to give me that phone call and congratulate me when General Buhari becomes the president of the country and he returns our country to normalcy? Do you expect a Buhari win?
No, Buhari is not going to win the election. So I can call you to say, hey, Kayode, you lost, but no, he's not going to win.
Can you tell us why?
Why would he win? What factors are in his favor? If you want to talk from a political perspective, out of what, I believe 70% of the local government areas in the country are controlled by PDP. APC has no structures on the ground. APC is, as my good friend Demola Olariwaju said, PDP is a party of phantasmagoria in the air. They talk a good game, but they can't back it up with a ground game. So on election day and prior to election day, you see no structures. That's one. Number two, no offense to Buhari, I'm sure he is a good person as a human being, but he's past the hill in terms of mental agility, in terms of health agility. So even if he is elected, which he wouldn't be, there's very little he can do.
Okay, and tell us about President. Did you meet President Goodluck Jonathan in your
No, I have not met him. I mean, I've been around him, but I've never spoken to him in person.
Okay, now, how would you describe, you went to Nigeria, you had a feel of what is on ground.
Yes, I did.
How would you describe Nigeria today under President Goodluck Jonathan?
Much better than ever before. I was telling someone that the way Nigeria is right now, the last time I've been in a place and had the feeling I have now was when I was in Dubai in the early part of this century. Back then, Dubai was hustling and bustling. There were cranes everywhere. People were excited about the future. People were moving forward. People could talk about their dream and speak with reasonable certainty that they believe it's going to come to fruition. I mean, their dream of starting a business, of aspiring to great things, and so on and so forth. That's the mood in Nigeria now. Outside of the political talking heads, average people are excited.
You know, I'm in a very unique situation now because I can't engage, otherwise I'll be accused. But there's something I want to bring out, Mukhtar, is how do you suddenly shift from a pro-Buhari campaigner to a pro-Jonathan?
I did not suddenly shift. Anyone who's followed my Twitter handle, for example, knows that for the longest time, I was ambivalent as to whom I support. I support Nigeria. I want Nigeria to move forward.
Last year, you had tweets where you are
last year, there are numerous times where I accused Jonathan of being inept. Numerous ones. And till today, if I ever meet with him and he asks me to appraise his administration, I'll tell him the truth. There were also numerous tweets where I accused other politicians of doing wrong and doing right. Now, my challenge as we were coming closer to the electoral season is it's impossible to sit on the fence. And I looked at certain factors. One of the factors was, who do I believe is going to take Nigeria forward? Now, in the past year or the past years, there are numerous places where I have praised Goodluck Jonathan as well. I've not been one of those people who are like, anything Jonathan touches is rubbish, he's bad, he's horrible. No, he's done great work. You've even acknowledged a lot of things yourself in the past. So when it was time to get to the nitty-gritty of the election, I realized that, by the way, for those who don't know, I supported Buhari in 2003. I supported him in 2007. In 2011, I supported him, but I wasn't actively involved in his campaign. And in 2011, the reason I wasn't actively involved is because I believed he had kind of sold out to all sorts of nebulous interests. And this time around, I observed Buhari. I saw that the man is no longer the man he used to be. Let me finish.
I want the caller to come in so that I don't mean to cut you short. I just want to make sure the callers have a say too. Hello, good evening, please.
Hello, good evening. My name is Esther, calling from London.
All right, go ahead, Esther. We've got Mukhtar in the studio.
Okay, I know you were talking about the politics. Now, can I just chip in with the Chibok girls?
Quickly, if
Okay, please.
Yeah.
You know with Jihad John in Syria,
yes.
when he kidnapped other people, right?
Yes.
The China president have alternative to free the guy if they pay the ransom.
Yeah.
Jonathan was willing to pay any ransom for those guys to be brought back.
Yeah.
But this, the Takai refused totally. So President Jonathan can do anything to bring those guys. He can't go there himself. He tried every look and corner to get those guys back.
Absolutely.
But see, if you go to details, like the Northerners should put more effort. They should work with Goodluck Jonathan. I think Jonathan wants to bring those guys back because no mother, no father will want their kids to be in that position.
Thank you so much for that contribution. Now, she's actually drew my attention to something that agitates me when Nigerians, and I'm by my name, I'm from Southwest Nigeria.
Yes.
But I get really angry when Nigerians say Northerners are not doing enough. And I remember I see a lot of JTF civilian boys in those communities taking sticks to join our soldiers to fight these elements. Why do we have this lack of appreciation for the fact that there are quite a number of people in the northern part of the country who are taking responsibility, who are putting their lives at risk?
Northerners have been at the forefront of the fight against Boko Haram. Northern clerics, northern politicians, northern leaders of thought. It's just that most people from the north don't necessarily have access to the media, which is, as we know, based in the southwestern part of the country. So they can shout, scream, say whatever, but except, no offense to anybody, somebody from the southwestern part of the country speaks up, it doesn't happen.
Do you think our country has been more polarized now than it's ever been before?
It's not more polarized than it's ever been before, but it's normal for you know, when it comes to elections, it always happens. Whether it's in the 60s with Operation Wettier, whether it's in the Second Republic, 1979, 1983, whether it's Hope 93 with Abiola versus Tofa, there've always been issues where fissures seem to appear, but we always come back from the brink.
Okay, I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Oscar.
All right, Oscar.
I'm calling from London.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Oscar. We've got Mr. Mukhtar in the studio.
Okay, hi, thank you. In a situation, whatever he do, he is criticized.
Yes.
Look, Obasanjo, when he was in power, sent soldiers to kill anybody who followed the law. In the South, he did. In the Middle Belt, he did. Now, Jonathan cares about all this. He has military advisors. He cannot preemptively dropping bombs on these people because you'll be killing the girls too. He cannot go there himself to kill these girls. The other thing I want to mention is this dissatisfaction among the soldiers.
Yeah.
Look, there is division in Nigeria, which I don't know who can fix it.
Okay.
The Christian soldiers feel that this is not a war. The Muslim soldiers feel that this is against them.
That's incorrect. That's not even remotely close to true. That's not correct.
Okay, Mr. Ayede is telling us that's not true, but let me quickly ask you this question. You said APC has no structure with 16 state government that they can't win this election.
APC is a party built on fantasy.
On fantasy. Okay, in 2011, Buhari got 12 million votes without the number of structures that the APC has got.
Yes, but in 2011, goats and children were also voting for Buhari in the north.
Really?
Of course. Youth corpers were killed in the north. Threatened the first day, they held their ground. The next day, they still held their ground, and that was the end.
How come no one has been held accountable, brought to justice by the Goodluck Jonathan administration?
Whom are you going to hold accountable when the whole community comes together, appears, and then disappears? Whom are you going to find?
The committee set up by the government, its own committee, did not indict any opposition member.
The thing with these things is this. as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I don't think Buhari ever said, hey, listen, you, kill this person, kill that person. What Buhari has done is made very incendiary comments that his followers become passionate enough to take action. So now, the thing about Goodluck Jonathan is he is a person who believes in peace. He's not a warmonger.
So how would you respond to the First Lady's comments of stone APC members if they should change?
We know that she is speaking in local vernacular. Stone people is not incite violence, is not to incite people to violence. Okay. It's a saying, stone them as in, I beg Joe, stone that, you know.
And so, could we also say that it's the same way Buhari was misunderstood with the baboon?
No. When you start talking of shedding people's blood, stoning someone and shedding people's blood or soaking something with blood, it's too extreme. Okay, now, in my opinion, for the record, I don't think such things should be said at all. But if were to look at them from scales of whatever, if I say, Kyle, if you don't shut up, I'll stone you. You know we're kidding. That's, you know, that's common
okay, because we're running out of time, we have to go to the second segment of this program. I want you to say your last word here before you go. We have literally 1 minute.
Everybody was expecting us to fight. Just so everyone knows, this is what we want in Nigeria. As the elections come and go, we need to have peace. We can be, you know, excitable and excited, but at the end of the day, we still have one country. If we destroy Nigeria, even though some of us might reside outside its shores, we will no longer have a home. So, anyway, my final words are, Goodluck Jonathan is not perfect. He doesn't claim to be, but he is a person who loves Nigeria and will take Nigeria forward.
Mukhtar Daniel Ayodi, it's a pleasure to have you on this program.
Same here.
Have you asked, this is the end of the first segment of this program. Don't go away. When we get to the second part, you need to see hear the conversation about our educational system. Nigerians all across the world paying a lot of money. We've gone to Ghana, and you see clips from Ghana where we spoke to quite a number of Nigerian students, and we've got statistics about how it's affecting us at home. Don't go away. It's Ben Television live from the UK. See you in less than 5 minutes' time, and we shall be back on Politics with KO Part 2.
Don't miss the debates by Nigerians and friends of Nigeria on issues surrounding Nigeria from around the world. My name is Kayode Okindamisi.